Hi guys, hope you're keeping well. You join me in the studio here back at Mum's place. I'm just editing a little video here for you. I was invited onto an Instagram live TV show by Nick and Matt of Jurassic Vans, and we did the show last Thursday. Had a fantastic time with those guys, a real good laugh. I answered loads of questions over about an hour long chat. And if you don't follow me on Instagram, then maybe you should consider doing that, because there's a lot of stuff happens on Instagram that doesn't happen on here. A lot of stuff that we're doing prior to it going out on YouTube, you get to see previews of that on Instagram. So don't forget to check us out there. But if you missed that show last Thursday and would like to watch it again, you can do so right now. I've edited the video and hope you enjoy it. Thanks, guys.
Welcome everyone to our session tonight. I am your host Nick and this is Matt.
Hello.
And tonight we are talking with Greg Virgoe off of the camper van self-build legend off of YouTube. We're really excited for you to join us. We've got some awesome questions lined up. We're going to talk over the topic, which is why convert a van and can a complete novice do it? So we have got some questions lined up. Thanks everyone in advance who has sent the questions through. If you do have more questions, please drop them in the comment section below and we will try and answer as many as we can in the session that we've got. But without further ado, we will join Greg onto the show. Hello!
Hello.
Oh, we've got Lou as well. Amazing.
Hello.
How are you guys? You all right?
Yeah, really good. How are you guys?
Brilliant.
Yeah, really good.
Really good, thank you. Thanks very much for inviting us. Been really excited about this. Looking forward to it.
Oh, awesome. So
I said this year that I was going to do a lot more lives this year because I haven't done many in the past, and I think it's really good to get the interaction with people. So
absolutely. Hopefully we've given you like the confidence to do it and to host them yourself, because they are really easy. I didn't actually introduce you before, but to the community. But so Greg and Lou, you've both been full time in your van since July 2018, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
Yeah.
We were both working full time. We both handed our notice in, left our jobs on the 30th of June, 2018.
Nice.
Epic day.
Yeah.
And and a week later managed to get rid of the house as well and moved into the van full time.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we've been
Amazing.
living in it. We're nearly coming up 3 years now.
Yeah.
So.
Fantastic. What's been the best part about that for you, living in a van full time?
Just the freedom, to be honest, and just being able to travel. I know we can't travel at the moment, but hopefully, we'll be able to get back out there soon. But one, financially, it's given us the opportunity to do this, because this is kind of like an early retirement plan, if you like. So
Right, nice.
cutting all of our financial ties, the house in particular, that was a big expense. That enabled us, obviously, to then not have to work full time. So that means we can enjoy life a little bit more before we have to retire, before we get to retirement age. Do you know what I mean?
Do you both work part time at the moment then, and then you choose to sort of go off on holiday when you want?
I'm sending you out to work at the
Yeah,
moment.
I love the honesty.
So
Yes.
Lou has the hard job of looking after the van, and
Yeah.
I just dip in and out of work, to be honest. When we're travelling, YouTube and social media and things like that is more than enough to pay us to travel, which is fantastic. And then what I've done since we come back, because of lockdown, and we were obviously stuck in one place, I had an old customer of mine that contacted me and said, would I be interested in running a project? And I thought, well, to be honest, it didn't look like we was going to be moving anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
So I've gone back into work. So really, lockdown for me is kind of like going back to what I used to do. So we're hoping that that's going to be finished fairly soon and we can get back out and travel.
Yeah, I think with the roadmap and the hopeful dates, it's looking quite promising.
It's looking promising. Yeah, definitely.
So where are you guys at the moment? Are you on a campsite? Are you on someone's drive? Whereabouts are you?
Yeah, we've been dropping between parents' drives.
Yeah.
Nice.
Probably. We were on a campsite which was local to where I was working, but that closed for the end of the season, and because of lockdown it hasn't reopened.
No.
But that is opening back up in April, so we've actually booked now to be back on that site in April, which is hopefully that will go ahead. But until then, we'll bum around our parents.
You're never too old to bum around your parents, I think.
No.
Yeah, it's handy because of washing machines and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that is a question that
Don't
I
do
want
your own laundry.
Yeah, that is a question I
Yeah.
want to ask. Actually, how do you do your laundry in the van?
Yeah, normally we just save everything up in a bag in the van, and we do it once a week basically. Usually, you know, there's a laundrette in every town, and it's really easy. It's nothing difficult.
They're so easy to find, especially when we're abroad, aren't they? They're super clean generally, and you know, really quick and really quite cheap actually as well.
I think the ones abroad surprised us more than
Yeah, they
anything
did,
because
yeah.
they're just really like they look brand new. They're immaculate.
Yeah.
It's really super convenient.
Awesome.
Nice.
I did see, I don't know if you've seen, but on one of the, I think it was a Facebook group, there was a camper van, I think I pointed it out to you as well, that was like an extra long wheelbase and it actually had a washing machine in there.
I've seen one or two of those, yeah. I think there is a tiny little 12-volt twin tub that they do, which I don't know how well it'll work. It'll probably only
A lot
wash
of space.
I don't know if you can see all the comments coming through, but I just thought I'd let you know there's a lot of people saying that you are a hero, Greg, and you're a legend, and saying thanks for all the videos that you send in, that you produce. So
I really appreciate it. It was one of those things when we looked to do our van, and I watched hundreds of hours of videos on YouTube, and that there wasn't so many then. There's now thousands. I mean, it's endless, the content.
Yeah.
It does take a while to sift through.
Sure.
And find,
There's a lot of opinions out there.
Yeah, and there was quite a few back then that weren't really very good, I must admit, and people were following other people but didn't know why they were doing it. They just saw somebody else had done it and think, oh, I'll copy that.
Yeah.
So it was where I thought, well, maybe I can just add a little bit of value and give something back.
Yeah.
So that was the reason we started videoing it, just maybe to fill a few gaps, but it's actually turned out to be fantastic. You know, the response has been amazing.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And anyone that asks me for advice on how to, I usually push them your way, because I'm like, you're not going to find someone that's more knowledgeable, open, honest, and just calm about it. A lot of people, they show you how to do something, but then there's a big picture of them eating porridge and some lovely shots of them doing stuff, and you're like, no, I actually want to learn.
You haven't seen me lying on the bed with the sunset yet.
No, I'm sure you keep those photos to yourself.
One day.
I was going to ask you how you're managing during lockdown and that.
Well, we both have houses, so Matt's my social bubble. So I can come over here and work on the vans together. At the moment, I'm doing quite a lot of the back work, website work, and developing our new business venture within Jurassic Vans. And Matt's doing a lot of the building at the moment.
You got vans to add to the fleet of vans.
So we've got one long wheelbase Sprinter, which we're doing at the moment, because you guys are in a long wheelbase Sprinter, is that right? Yeah. And so that's what we're doing. It's not going to have an indoor shower like yours, but it's sort of aimed more at families and for like
renting.
For renting week trips.
Yeah. To be honest, like we've spoke about this for the van that we're planning to do now, and I won't be putting a shower in that either.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, really, for the simple reason that we didn't use this one as much as we thought we would. A few times we were on campsites and things like that, and we just didn't use it as much as I thought I would use it. So I think. Did
you use it for anything else, like just temporary storage or like a wet room for wetsuits or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic as a drying room. It's brilliant for that. We've got the little extract fan in there, and the vent off the heater. So yeah, wet coats and towels and things like that. It's great.
Was that diesel? Did you redirect a diesel heater outlet into there, or?
We've got the Truma heater, which is the.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. That is.
Yeah, I keep telling Matt that I really want to get one of those, and he says that we shouldn't.
What's one of these?
The Truma, which does the hot air and the.
Oh, they're like £400 though, aren't they?
Yeah, they're 1,500.
1,500.
Yeah, it's expensive, but
maybe if it was one of our personal vans.
Yes.
I would pay double. It is that good.
Wow.
Really?
It's a total game changer.
Yeah. Okay.
It really does make the van really comfortable. You've got running hot water whenever you want it. Yeah, it is brilliant, to be honest. It's so controllable. And it's got some really cool features as well.
Yeah.
How long have you had it?
We put it in when we first had the van, so we've had it for 3 years, and it's been absolutely fantastic.
Oh, okay. Well, that's something to consider then.
Is it quiet or?
It's on now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, can't hear it.
Perfect.
Quiet.
It's whisper quiet. It's on. We put it on an eco mode,
Yeah.
which is all it really needs because it's about 4 kilowatts. So it really.
Oh
only,
wow. Okay, yeah.
It really only just needs to tick over.
Yeah.
And you can't even hear it. You have to put your hand down to a vent to feel the warm air to know that it's on.
Oh wow.
Maybe we can get one on the next one, hey?
Maybe. I heard running a high-powered heater. Is it does it run off diesel or fuel?
It's dual fuel.
Dual fuel.
You can get a diesel version. This one's LPG and electric.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So when we're off grid, obviously we run it on the gas, and if we are on a campsite and we can hook up, then you can run it off the electric.
Yeah. I only ask because I've only recently heard that if you run a higher-powered diesel heater, they have a tendency to soot up if you run them on the lower temperatures for a long period.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard this.
Yeah, just because obviously you're burning the fuel, it needs a hotter temperature to keep burning the soot off.
Yes. Yeah.
To run it at a high flame rate.
Yeah.
And then obviously with that you get a lot more noise.
Yeah.
Truma do a diesel version as well of the combi boiler. I've heard one or two people that said it is a bit noisier than the LPG version, just purely for the fact that you're burning diesel rather than you're burning gas. So the burn is different and it needs to work at a higher rate.
Yeah. So let's move into the topic of why convert a van. Can the complete novice do it?
Yeah, well, initially, I mean, from our experience, we looked at buying an actual motorhome, second-hand motorhome was our first choice. Thought that'd be the simple route to get into it really quickly. But then the cost of second-hand motorhomes was absolutely astronomical. You know, we were looking at some and they were like 30, 40 grand and thought, wow, this is going to use all of our travel fund just to buy a van.
Yeah.
So that was the main thing, was the expense more than anything. That's what made me start looking into doing self-build. Yeah, and that's really where we ended up. And we thought, we'll buy a second-hand van and we'll kit it out ourselves. And in the end, the whole van, including the cost of the van and everything that we put into it, came to about 21,000, I suppose. So
that's great.
And I think we've got a top spec van. You know, it's got all the mod cons that you'd ever need in a van for probably half the cost of a second-hand motorhome.
Yeah, absolutely, and nicer to drive as well.
Yeah, the van's lovely to drive. Yeah, it's really, really nice.
What did you pay for the base vehicle, and what made you decide to go for a Mercedes Sprinter?
I just thought to myself, well, all the major fleet owners, you know, all the courier companies and all your big van, you know, Amazon and people like that, they seem to gravitate towards Sprinters. There must be a reason for that. And then when I looked into it, they're just very, very reliable. They've got cam chain instead of cam belt. Engines tend to be more reliable. They just drive really well. I've driven one before, so I knew how well they go. And it's really comfortable. I've driven 10 hours straight for a week each day. Never had any fatigue.
Wow. There must be some good music playing for those road trips.
How many times did the CD go around?
Quite a few. No, it was a brilliant van for us. That was my first choice. And they're really roomy inside. I mean, it's amazing how much space there is.
It was the space, and knowing that you can stand up. You've got plenty of space to stand up. We didn't want to be, especially living in the van. You don't want to be crouching and cooking, sitting down on your knees trying to cook your dinner.
Transporters, VW transporters and that sort of thing, but they didn't really have the height.
No.
We didn't really want to be crawling around on our knees, if it was in it 24/7. But it just had the most amount of space, really. But going back to your earlier question about whether novices can build a van, obviously this was our first van conversion. We'd never built a van before, so although I've got sort of a technical and mechanical and design background, I don't come from a practical, physical, hands-on job. I'm a design engineer by trade, so most of I started off as a draftsman and then went into mechanical services design, but it's all mainly been office-based. So I started just, like I said earlier, watching YouTube videos. I watched a lot of carpentry videos, American carpentry videos, funnily enough, just to get some ideas about doing the woodworking. And then just started practicing. And myself and Lou's dad, in his little garage there, we were just making like little boxes little jewellery boxes and things like that, just to get used to using the
Yeah.
tool and the different jointing methods and things like that. And we just did that to start off with, just to get used to using the equipment. So I had no carpentry experience at all before we started this van. So there you go.
That's incredible. And if you go and look on Greg's YouTube channel as well, to everyone that's watching, you've got van tours and, you know, you talk through everything inside your van. So when you say it is high spec, that's absolutely true. It really is a high spec van that you guys have got. It's such a credit to you both.
Thank you. Yeah, we were replacing our home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's going to be something that we were going to live in long term, or for a few years anyway. So we really wanted something that was going to be comfortable and had everything that we needed in it.
Yeah.
I didn't really want to compromise on anything for us to be comfortable, you know.
What would you say the top three most? Because I'll tell you what mine were from when we did our van, and this is not for us to live in. This is us to be sort of weekend warriors. For me, the top three things in the van that we have is I wanted to be able to stand up, I wanted a large cooking area, and I wanted a king size bed. And everything else was sort of second to that. What were your priorities when you were doing the build?
Mine, considering I definitely don't come from camping background at all. I've never camped in my life before we moved into the van. So my one and only request was I had to have my own toilet. And that's a must, otherwise it wasn't happening.
Well, it's just like a his and her sink.
Yeah, imagine, that'd be great.
The discussion very well, actually. It was a case of, well, if it hasn't got an ensuite bathroom, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
Wow.
But no, it was the toilet. Again, it was the fixed bed, because I didn't want to be making up a bed every day, putting it away every night, every day, getting in and out. So a fixed bed was a must as well for me, really.
That's really where another reason we chose the Sprinter, because it's 4.3 metres long. You can easily get, you know, we've got a 6 foot bed permanently lengthways in the back and still got loads of room in the living area.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why you didn't go for the extra long wheelbase Sprinter?
Because of the weight restrictions, because obviously the longer the van gets, the less you can put inside it. Because you still got that 3.5 ton limit. So this really was the longest we wanted to stretch to. And the next one that we're planning to do is actually going to be a medium wheelbase. So we're going to go shorter.
Is that for you, for a new project to have on the side, or is that for you guys to move into and just swap up?
It's not for us to move into. This is always going to be our van. It's a new project for YouTube, basically.
Perfect, brilliant. Yeah, do you want to talk a bit about that, because I know you mentioned it before when we were chatting, or can you not?
Yeah, no.
Okay, good.
Top secret.
I didn't know how secret it was.
Not a secret. I've mentioned it a few times, but we're going to be doing a budget build, basically.
Brilliant.
So a total opposite end of the spectrum to this van, where almost money was no object. I'm going to be doing one for as little money as I possibly can. Still have a cracking van that you can use off grid and everything else. So I'm not going to do it for nothing, but I'm going to do it for as little as possible, and try and recycle as many products, materials, and try and do it as eco-friendly as possible as well, as on a tight budget. So hopefully it will tick a couple of boxes. What
sort of budget are you aiming for with that to be fully completed?
The vehicle probably will be the most expensive, only because with the popularity of van life, vans prices have gone up like crazy.
I think they've gone up about 30% in the last 6 months at least.
Yeah, it's become very popular. So that's drove that part of the budget up. But I'm hoping to do the whole of the build, the whole of the refurbishment, interior fit out for under £5,000.
Great.
Which I think is a realistic figure. I know I can do a fully off-grid van for that, heating, cooking, everything else.
Brilliant.
And hopefully for a lot less than that, to be honest.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that, and especially the upcycling. That's something that we're really keen about using. We're constantly on Facebook trying to get free work surfaces, or
nice oak surface comes along sometimes.
Stuff to stop things getting chucked away, really.
Got some great ideas for that sort of thing, repurposing kitchen units and things like that. looking on Marketplace, you know, for people that are giving away furniture. Break it
So
all
if you
down.
want to donate anything to to Greg's van build to make it even cheaper, then message him, because he's doing a budget van. So if you've got any extra or surplus stuff like sound deadening, insulation, send it over.
Got to do it realistic though. I can't use my position to
That's very that's so,
the results will be skewed. It's like,
so
look, you can build a van
noble.
for £200, that you just have to be famous.
Yeah, not everybody's as fortunate as I am.
That's very noble of you. You want to say something?
I built a van from mostly pallet wood once to make it like upside. Don't use pallet wood. It's it splits. It warps.
From the weight point of view, or just
no? It was doing it with a buddy to try. We did like just a van together, I guess, to go on a road trip. We drove to China. So we just built this like cheap.
Yeah, we just drove to
I don't know, young and reckless, I guess. Just built it super cheap, and it ended up working out for us because we had to abandon it at the border anyway. So
the wood's poor quality, you'd say, or
it's lovely and light, and you do get a nice. You can like machine it and do what, but it does have a tendency to split quite a lot. Even if you pilot drill it and all this, it's just a bit of a nightmare to work with.
Apparently, it can be hazardous due to chemicals as well.
It's also it's also sprayed full of chemicals to prevent it from rotting.
As well, aren't they?
So don't. It's free, but don't.
Red painted walls. I mean, going back again to whether novices can build vans, we go to a self-builders group, South Central self-builders group, which is on the south coast. And they have a load of people there, and the idea originally with the group was that people would get together and then everybody would sort of pitch in and help each other out. There's a great concept, and that group's grown massively now. And I know we were down there, and I won't mention any names or give it away, but there was a lovely lady there that turned up with her van, and I'll be polite and say she was past retirement age, but she built her van herself on her own, and I just thought it was absolutely incredible.
Nice.
You know, if somebody like that can do their own van conversion, then anybody can do it, really, to be honest.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think especially with someone like yourself, the content that you produce, we're still getting so many streams of comments saying that, you know, people have wired up a van and done the electrics because of you, and all of your information that you share is just so well received and so helpful for people that are novices, and it's not condescending or anything. It's brilliant. So it's really helpful, the service that you provide.
Thank you. I look back through, I had my year in review from YouTube, the email that you get, and then it's got all your stats and all your figures and that, and one that was really interesting was I'd answered 24,500 comments.
Wow.
Yes, it averages out about 65 a day. That's just YouTube comments. That's without all the emails and DMs and everything else I do.
That's incredible. We've had City to Van Life. I don't know if you follow them, but they were on a show a couple of weeks ago asking questions about hiring camper vans and having that as a business. They said they 100% they couldn't do it without your videos. That's
really good to know. Good. That's what it's there for at the end of the day, is to help everybody else.
I don't know when the Queen will be in contact, feel like MBE, but hopefully it'll be soon. Also, we've had a few questions as well that have come through like prior to us going live. So I'm just going to fire a few questions out to everyone to answer. One is we've had a few from Jess Lang. She's asked quite a few, and sorry we can't answer all of them, Jess. We're going to answer a couple of them. She asked one about DVLA and insurance and getting your van certified, and that is not a question that we can answer in a couple of minutes.
No, it's really complicated now because they've made the rules really difficult for people, and it's almost impossible to get your van converted.
Yeah, I think.
Yes,
I have done a live on that, so Jess, I will tag you in that. But what she wanted to know was headliner shelf. How do you do it? Do you have a video on that? I couldn't remember. That one.
Yeah, we did do a video on that.
Perfect.
Obviously, we cut a plywood shelf. We put a batten across, a timber batten fixed to that, and then what we did. A lot of people take the handles that you've got above the doors off, and then use those as fixing points, which is really great. And that's one way of doing it. Put a little L bracket in there and fix to that.
Yeah.
And then what we did is I made another wooden plate, if you like, and we took the headliner out and then screwed through in through the headliner into another wooden plate on the other side and fixed it that way.
Nice.
And then the front batten, which is on the front edge of the shelf, is fixed to the bulkhead, which in turn is fixed to the ceiling.
Yeah.
So it all sort of ties in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all in the video. You can do
Perfect.
it. It becomes really, really solid at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's one of those things that you start doing, because Matt's just done that in our van, and it starts off really flimsy, like it's never going to look strong, and then
it does become pretty strong.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the amount of scribing you have to do with all the contours and like, spends hours and nothing's really achieved at the end of the day. But it looks good.
With cardboard cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to get the other person to look. You're like, no, look at what I've done. Look, because it's taken me half a day.
Yeah.
No, that's where I'm normally sat there like this, holding it up like that.
Yeah.
High ground and get it right in the right place.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't breathe.
Come out to the van and she'd go, "What have you done?"
Yeah, no,
Yeah, nothing's changed.
when we were, that's when you were doing the installation. When I come out and it was snowing, so I left him to it, and admittedly I went indoors because I was freezing. And I come out and I went, "Is that all you've done?" And I got this look and I went, "Oh, I'm going in now."
sorry.
And ran away.
Just walk back slowly.
Yeah.
Because we found this the last couple of weeks has been a godsend. The weather getting better, but before that, wearing gloves and not having the heater on and having the heater yet fitted. Oh, it was just Baltic.
All your tools are cold.
Yeah.
Yeah, just deciding on how you're going to cut this bit of wood based on the tool temperature.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that ruler's no. This line isn't going to be straight.
Can I share? I mean, you asked me before we came onto this session if I could give some advice on my planning tips for novice builders.
Absolutely. Yes, please.
I've got 2 or 3 things that I did at the start of my build which might help other people. So I think it's really important to have a clear idea of what you want to put in your van before you start. You need to know where everything's going. You need to know what equipment you're going to put in there, and then you need to know what services that's going to need. So all I did really simple. I know you probably can't see that, but I made 3 lists, and this is my original bit of paper.
Yeah.
And one's titled electric, water, and gas. And then I just wrote down each thing that was going to go into the van, whether it needed electric, whether it needed water, whether it needed gas. And then once I got that, I then just did a real basic pencil sketch. It's my original pencil sketch about that. And then just put those items in their location where they were going to go. And then thought, right, okay, I need to get power there. I need to get gas there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was how I started sort of planning it from the beginning. And then once you know exactly what's got to go in your van, then you can find out how much power does it need. Does it need 12 volt? Does it need 230 volt? And then you can start dialing it down to specifics. But that's really how I started, having a clear idea of what you want to put in there from the start and knowing where it's going to go. Because the worst thing is to add something in later on.
Absolutely.
You can't get a cable to it, or, because you've got all your furniture in, or you ply lined it or something like that. So I think that's very important when you start. And then my other little tip because the van conversion is a massive job, you guys know it turned out to be a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. I mean, we actually, there's a funny video, we said to Lou's mum and dad, "Oh, it's only going to take us a couple of months, we'll knock that out in no time."
Yeah, the van's in the back garden.
Yeah, so they said, "Oh, we'll just put it into the garden, then you put it by the workshop, it'll be fine." So of course it was there for over a year actually. It was in their garden.
Yeah.
You're taking up their patio space. It's still so in the video where we take, I think we take it for its MOT, don't we?
We do.
And we bring it out of the garden for the first time. You can see Lou's mum and dad standing behind the garden shed going,
they're like this, really celebrating.
"They've gone."
And I think your fabled catchphrase as well, because you've got T-shirts printed with this on, is it'll only take half an hour.
Stems from that, because obviously, like Lou's and her mum would say, "Well, how long are you going to be?" And invariably, it was me and her dad that was working together on it. So we just go, "Oh yeah, we'll only be half an hour," And that's how that started. And
Perfect,
we'd be out there all day long.
Yeah.
So it did become a bit of a catchphrase.
Yeah.
Lou just got, I didn't know anything about it. Lou got them printed for us as
Brilliant.
a Christmas present. And then it's just become a sort of catchphrase.
Yeah.
I love it.
And
so how much time would you say you would devote to the planning phase?
it really depends how quickly you can formulate an idea. I think I spent hours and hours poring over Instagram, YouTube, because I really wasn't set on my layout. But if you've got a clear idea, I don't know, it could take, you know, a weekend of brainstorming, or it could take a few weeks to finalise. Yeah. But, one other tip that I've got just quickly, which
go ahead.
I found useful when I was doing my build, because it seems like a daunting task, and you know, it's like a bit like painting the fourth bridge. There's no end to it. All I did was I wrote another list. I like a list. So I put a list of all the tasks, whatever they might be. So I've got on here simple, you know, mount the roof rails, electric wiring first fix, rear view camera, insulation, door cards, floor battens. It wasn't in any particular order. We just sat around the kitchen table, just brainstormed it, and just went, right, what do we need to do? Write a list. And then what we then did, once we got the list, is down the column on the side here, is thought, oh, well, we need to do that before that.
Sure.
Yeah.
And gave it a number.
Yeah.
So we could sequence it. And
Some sort of order.
Yeah, so we knew that we had to do the ply lining before the furniture went in. You know, obvious things, but we just numbered the list.
Yeah.
And then once we got the numbers sorted in the sequence, we rewrote it out. And then that became my worksheet.
Brilliant.
And then I broke it down into tiny little tasks that would take me one weekend to do one task. And then Lou would go, well, how many have you crossed off today? You know? Yeah. And it was almost like a little goal.
Yeah.
So you give yourself a little goal, and it was like, yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. Get a sticker.
Yeah. But again, some days it could be, we can cross off 4 things today.
Yeah.
And other days it's like, oh, well, I haven't finished that yet. And that'd be like a whole weekend of trying to do one thing. But it unfortunately takes as long as it takes, doesn't it? You know, so. And at the end of the day, we were still learning, doing the van at the same time. So.
And my couple of tips for people that are looking to start anyway. I think having a clear plan.
Definitely. And so we have a question from Matt Jackson saying, what would you do differently next time?
Yeah, a few things actually. I wouldn't put as much emphasis on the 230 volt side that I did before. I'd try and get as much as I could on the 12 volt electrics running off the batteries, even to the point of changing some of the chargers for the laptop and things like that.
Really?
Rather than plugging them into the mains, I'd get 12 volt converters for those, and really run as much as you can off your 12 volt batteries, because the least amount of time that you can have your inverter on for the 230 volt side, the longer your batteries are going to last. Because obviously, I mean, people advised me when I was building it, and you can go through the comments, you'll see the comments there, people going, oh no, you don't want to do it like that. And I was so sort of set in my ways, I didn't really know, to be honest. I must be honest about it. And now we've lived in it, definitely I can see.
Especially when you're off grid.
Yeah.
You know, when we're off grid a lot. I mean, even if we are on a campsite, we don't really, we don't plug in unless we don't plug in because
we're tight and we don't want to pay for the electric.
Yeah.
So we do try to be off grid even when we are on a campsite. So to maintain the batteries and keep them running, that's the key. Yeah.
And do you have? Oh, sorry. Do you have lithium batteries, or what's the other one?
Well, there's gel lithium, and then like sealed flooded.
Yeah, we've got AGM, which is glass mat. So they're a sealed battery. They're not liquid in it. They're not like a flooded lead acid battery. They're a sealed battery. But yeah, we've looked after them, and they're still going strong. Yeah. We keep the batteries above 12.4 volts, which isn't difficult to do. So they're only at about 70% or 30% discharged. So I'll get thousands of cycles out of those. They're more than 3 years old now, and I'm still working, no problems at all.
How do you protect against low voltage? Do you use like the solar controller, or do you have a separate relay for cutting off electrics? I
don't have any low cut-off device. I know they are available.
Yeah.
We just keep an eye on the solar charge controller. And
okay.
I just keep an eye on the voltage. I haven't got anything fancy like a BMV or anything connected to the, you know, on a smartphone app or anything like that. Just literally look at the voltage and just monitor that. And I think the key is to, if you're going to invest your money, don't invest your money in your batteries, invest your money in your solar.
Nice, yeah, I like that.
You can only use what you can generate. And a lot of people get sucked into the trap of thinking, oh, I need a massive battery bank, and then find that they can't charge it.
Never fall.
So, yeah, that's the key.
Yeah.
That's a really great point. I've not thought about that, because we've just gone for what did you say? What wattage for our Sprinter?
We've had like a 380 watt off Bimball Solar. I think it's a second-hand one from one of the farms, which they do. But that was about £100 and something. But mono, they've brought out too many panel versions now. It's the mono half cuts, that one, I think it is. But the efficiency
there's deals out at the moment.
Really good deals.
I think it was like 380 watts for £120. Mono panel, 19% efficient. Yeah, cracking deal.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm annoyed because when I did my caravan, I had to buy the flexible panels for the curved roof. They're such a rip-off, but I couldn't. It was like a classic caravan as well, and I just couldn't bolt a square like solar panel to the roof. It would just look like ruin the lines. But
like if you've got a nice VW and you don't want a massive,
exactly.
Yeah,
then kind of understand it, but you've got to bear in mind that they're just not going to last. Mainly because they just overheat.
Because you can't get air. You can't get air under them.
Yeah, you're supposed to have a good sort of amount of airflow. And the other thing with solar panels is, I know it sounds daft because they're sitting in the sun, but they become less efficient the hotter they get.
Yeah, the resistance.
So if you can keep them cool, they work a lot better.
Yeah. So you're effectively you're almost paying like 4 times the amount for the flexible panels and then losing the panel probably twice as quick.
Ouch.
It's the worst, but...
Yeah, and the manufacturers will only give you a 1 or 12-month warranty on...
It'll be limited as well, I think, in most cases.
Whereas you'll get, 5 years on a rigid panel and up to 25 years operation, 90% operation. They'll give 25-year warranty,
So we've got a couple more questions. A couple from Dave, at Dave Neal. One saying plastic windows or solid glass.
Personal choice. I mean, if you want to go for something which is going to be more, from a practical point of view, thermally efficient, no condensation, then go for the double glazed, the plastic, motorhome type or caravan type windows, because obviously they're double glazed. They give you a little bit of insulation. You won't get any condensation issues on the inside. A lot of them come with black out lines and fly screens. So from a practical point of view, they're the ones to go for. Personally, from aesthetics, we just liked the look of the bonded windows.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And we do get a little bit of condensation on them because they're only single glazing, but that's a minor inconvenience. I personally think they look better, but that's only my personal choice.
Yeah, I would agree with that one. I prefer the aesthetics of the glass windows. He's also asked, Dave Neal's also asked, induction hobs. Do you need a lithium battery for them to put an induction hob?
It's a lot of power there.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't need a lithium battery to run an induction hob, but anything that's providing electric heating, whatever it might be, whether it's heating your van, whether you're cooking with it, or even things like coffee makers or things like that, anything that uses electric as a source of heat is going to use a lot of battery. And that's one thing you've got to bear in mind. And it goes back to what I was saying just a second ago. You can only use what you can generate. So again, it's no point having electric heating in. People have approached me and said, can I put an electric heater in, an induction hob? I want to use hair dryers. And
you can put it all in. You won't better use it.
If you want to plug into the grid, no problem at all. Have whatever you like on there. But if you want to be off grid, forget it.
Yeah.
It's just, you've really got to look at what you can generate electric wise, and then have just a reasonable smallish size battery that you can keep constantly topped up all the time. So my advice would be to invest in a nice big solar setup, put in maybe 300 amp hours of battery, doesn't matter what type, and I think you'll be good with that.
Yeah, and get a gas hob. Better for cooking as well.
I know
it's too easy.
I'm sort of scared of gas, but if it's installed properly and maintained, absolutely no problems with it whatsoever. And it's really, really cheap to run. I mean, in the middle of winter when it's snow outside and we're living in here, heating and cooking, we don't spend any more than £10 a week on gas.
Brilliant.
Right? That's with the heating on 24/7.
Yeah.
And it's ready to be available across Europe and, well, most of the world, really.
Yeah, more so in Europe. Sadly, lost quite a few pumps in the UK because auto gas is no longer. So,
really?
Yeah, auto gas was an amalgamation of Cala and Shell formed auto gas. So all the Shell petrol stations had LPG pumps. That's no longer. So all of the pumps in all the Shell stations have now been taken out. So you won't see them anymore. And a lot of cars now go to electric or hybrid. LPG conversions on cars don't seem to be happening anymore.
Yeah.
So it's another reason to sort of phase that out. But there are still well in excess of 1,000 locations across the UK where you can get gas. So it's not impossible. And the thing to do is for everybody to jump on the I think it's mylpg.eu. Download the app on your smartphone. It will show you where to go to get gas. And then when you go there, if you say that you've been there and update the app, then everybody else knows that.
Brilliant.
They know where it is, what the current price is, and how long somebody was there getting gas. And that's really handy.
We've had a question from Henry Van Trapp, love the name. If you were getting a lot of stuff underslung, gas bottle, water tanks, water heater, would you do this before putting any flooring in?
Not necessarily, no. It doesn't need to be done that way around. A lot of the stuff that we drilled through the floor, we did once all the flooring was in, so that we knew where everything was going to go. I mean, all of my dropout vents and things like that, I didn't drill them to almost right to the end. Doing the last sort of fitting. So no, it's not essential to do that.
Great, I'd agree with that as well.
I think you want to get everything in place, furniture-wise, to know where to drill in the first place.
Yeah, it's like the first thing, you can't just drill a hole in the middle of your van and expect something later on. It's 3 months to line up with it.
Another question from Jez Adamson saying, besides the cost of the conversion, which part of the build caused you the most stress?
What was the biggest argument?
The ceiling was the one where I had a meltdown moment when I was fixing the ceiling.
On your own?
Yeah, it just wasn't going to plan.
No.
It
was really hot that day as well, wasn't it? Really hot.
And it's fitted in four sort of large panels, and then I've got like a PVC trim that it pushes into, and I'm working overhead, and I didn't have much leverage on it. I'm trying to get a 4-foot panel to push into this little plastic trim, and it just I got down the van, and as I was working down the van, I just got more and more sort of annoyed. And then,
we did it together, and we probably had an argument that day, I think.
We always have arguments.
That was the only one where I lost the plot, because the very last board at the end, it had to fit into 2 trims. So I had to bend it and then try and shove it into these 2 trims, and it just wasn't going. And in the end, I did lose my rag a little bit, and I shoved this board, and all of the vinyl peeled off. And I was like, right, that's it.
Complete meltdown.
Just picked up the nearest tool and started thrashing at it. You know?
And Lou had to pick up the pieces.
That one never made it into the video.
I'd love to see the outtakes reel. Yeah, the bloopers reel.
Unfortunately, there'd probably be a lot of swearing. You'd see me in a completely different light.
But you could just play it. You could play it with some like classical calming music while you're raging in the background.
Lots of bleeping bubbles. Inevitable that you're going to get 1 or 2 moments like that where things don't go to plan. But the thing is to just walk away from it, have a break, have a breather, and then go back to it.
Have a cup of tea. Just want to say hi to everyone that's joined us. Some people are just joining us now. If you do want to watch the show, we will publish it on our post on our channel, so you can watch it. And I had someone ask some question. Oh yeah, but when are you starting your new van build, the budget one?
Yeah, it's a twofold issue really. One is lockdown for one reason. Obviously, it's not really essential that we're doing that kind of thing. I am working at the moment, which is another reason. And I can't source another van, so I haven't actually got the van yet, which is really disappointing. I'm on the internet every day trying to find the right van. What is the perfect van, and then dig a little bit deeper and find something in the history that doesn't really stack up.
Yeah.
You know, oh, there's no MOT history. That's a bit strange.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're struggling to find another vehicle at the moment, which is the
Okay.
biggest issue. I've got it all planned. I know exactly what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to start issuing some videos out about the design,
Okay.
the drawings, what we plan to do. So at least there's some content coming
Sure.
out. So I appreciate people as, you know, interested to see what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And hopefully, fingers crossed, the van will turn up pretty soon.
And we've had a few people asking, I'm actually interested about this purely as well because we've got a long wheelbase. What did your van come in at weighing? Completely kitted out and full of fuel, blah, blah, blah.
When we took it for its MOT and we had it weighed then, it was empty of all our belongings. It was 3,060, which was really good.
Ooh.
But that was, you know, we didn't have anything actually in the van other than it fitted out.
Yeah.
And then with our initial trip when we first went out, we were probably about 3.3. We were a couple of 100 kilos shy.
Great.
But I know when we went and done
Brilliant.
the last MOT, we're really close to the mark at the moment. Probably because we've accrued a lot of stuff over the 3 years we've been living in it.
You need to have a major
We need to
sort out.
the van needs to go on a tyre.
Yeah.
Just start drilling holes in all the bits of wood and metal. And...
Yeah, we just need to get rid of some stuff that we're carrying around that we don't really need to carry around, I think. But yeah, we are close at the moment, to be honest.
Okay.
And I'm actually looking at possibly having the van upplated, just so we don't have that worry of being overweight.
That's interesting. I've never heard of upplay. I've only heard of people wanting to downplay. So
Yeah,
really interesting.
We're looking at taking the van up to 3.9.
Okay.
You can do it as just a paperwork exercise, but I'm actually going to modify the suspension. And we've got an air ride kit to go on the van as well.
Is that required to upplate?
No.
And does that change the driving capability, like the capabilities that? Sorry, does the driver need an updated license to drive above 3.5 ton?
Yeah. Fortunately, I'm of an age where I've got that on my license.
No. Oh, of course. Yeah.
You younger drivers, unfortunately, you'll probably have to take another test to go over 3.5
Yes.
tons.
Yeah.
We've also had some questions from Babe Ruth Moore, who couldn't join us tonight because she's actually asleep. She's in Australia.
Ooh.
So we're going international. And this is quite a hotly contested topic in our recent build because I was adamant that we were going to put battens down and then put insulation in and then the flooring on as per most of the videos for van converting. So Babe Ruth Moore asks, do I glue or screw battens down to the metal floor and then does she glue the insulation into that and then the wood on top? So it'd be interesting to hear your answer. Then we're going to go to you and we're going to talk about what we did.
Yeah, I'll tell you my thoughts behind what I did. I wanted to screw it down just to make it extra secure, basically. I did glue it as well, but my thoughts behind it were we were taking the bulkhead out and I wanted something really secure to fix the floor down to, so that when I fixed the furniture down as well, that was fixed to something secure. And it wasn't fixed to something that was essentially sort of floating around. I know the furniture's tied into a lot of other things, but in the event of a crash, potentially a lot of that stuff could be flying towards the cab if it's not securely bolted down. That was my own personal choice. I will say though, when we did our ceiling battens, I ran a bead of Sikaflex along those and I self-tapped them to the roof. And then the one right at the end, I had to take off and I had to... And I had to move it, and
it wouldn't actually come out.
Yeah,
I was going to say, the look on your face suggested that was not a fun day.
Well, this is here forever now. This is part of the van.
I used the Sikaflex, the 512. It's really strong. Well, I took the screws out. I just couldn't get it off the van.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had to get a crowbar on it to
almost hanging off it.
Yeah, I ended up having to break the wood into so many pieces to get it off the van. So if you use the right adhesive and the van's clean and primed and everything else, you know, that would really stick really well. So I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe I didn't have to screw them battens down in the end. But you need to use the right adhesive. It's no good using something like a no nails or something like that, because a lot of building adhesives cure hard.
Definitely.
Yes.
And when the van's moving around, that will just crack and break and you'll lose that bond. So you need something that is strong adhesive, but stays flexible as well.
And also with a temperature range as well that you can get inside the vehicle, especially in the summer, that a lot of the adhesives won't.
Yeah.
Which Sikaflex was that again?
512.
512.
Yeah, it's the one designed for motorhomes and
yes,
caravans.
yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about how, because we had an argument, well, we didn't have an argument, we had many debates about, I wanted to do it the way that you've done it, Greg. We didn't end up doing it that way.
Because I'm stubborn.
Because he's stubborn, but Matt's also an engineer, so he knows his stuff.
Sometimes I just don't like being told what to do. And everyone seems on YouTube is adamant that you have to put battens down and all this, and there's also a lot of work, and there's no actual scientific evidence. No one's done a real case study on van floors. So you get all these videos, but there's actually no evidence, 5 years down the line when they've torn their van apart and gone, oh, that was a bad idea. It just doesn't happen. So I figured we just put wax oleum down on the floor just to disperse any water which would ever make it down there if it were to seep through the floor. And then insulation boards.
Then it was the original floor.
Oh, sorry, yeah, there was the original factory floor cardboard.
No, it's wood.
Yeah, sorry, wood. It's like 6mm ply or whatever it was. We put the Celotex insulation on top of that, and then ply on top of that.
In full sheet, so we didn't put any battens.
Yeah, no battens. And my theory was that you're going to put first you've got the weight of all your stuff on top of that. And then if you cut it close to the body, realistically that can only move side to side. And depending on how close you cut it, it's not going to move far. And if you're screwing all your furniture, like your kitchen, your beds,
we've got a lot of structural furniture with the beds.
Yeah, and then they're in turn screwed to the walls. You've essentially got this 3D structure.
It builds it really strong in that sense, just by making that framework and screwing it to the walls and screwing it to that ply floor. Yeah.
I want to avoid screwing through the floor because it's eventually going to be a rust haven. Like, especially if you go straight through all the protective goop that they factory put on the inside the vans. I just imagine all that road dirt and grit is going to eventually work its way up. But
this is the thing, you see, because that screw is plugging its own hole. So there is no hole there. A lot of people say to me, "Oh, you've screwed into your vapor barrier. Isn't that hole going to let moisture in?" Well, there's not a hole there. There's a screw in it.
But is there not? There is bare metal there though. If water were to seep and get trapped between like the thread, you've now got an unprimed, unpainted metal surface.
But if you're buying anything like ours has got at least about 5mm of a rubberized spray on the underside. I mean, that's quite thick in itself.
Mind you did go round and
paint. I went round and sprayed all of the screws with on the underside. So no, I don't think.
Yeah, it's never really been a real concern. You always figure that really the van is probably going to rust into the ground before the little screw hole is going to rust. Like, that's not going to be the thing that's going to kill the van.
No, exactly. We'll have got the life out of this van before.
Precisely, yeah.
And you can take that screw with you to the next van.
I think my actions were just pure stubbornness. I didn't want to follow everyone else on YouTube, and I was like, I don't want to spend time putting battens down. From
a load bearing point of view, that PIR insulation will take the load.
Yeah.
Really well. You don't have to put the battens down to stop it compressing.
Yeah, we've seen no sag in the floor at all. It's all dead level still. We've been jumping up and down, overloading it with tools.
Okay, I will officially admit in front of everyone here present that Matt was right on this, because I was adamant that he wasn't. Gillian, I'm just going to talk to one of the people. Gillian Green is watching from New Zealand at the moment. Hello, New Zealand.
Hello.
Yeah, I know, from New Zealand. You asked a question, Gillian. We're watching from New Zealand and enjoying it. My question about getting the van in first, how do you go about it? I really want to answer your question, but could you just clarify what that is, because we're not sure. In the meantime, Greg and Lou, could you talk about your tour that you did for Annabel? Because this was amazing, and if you've watched it, go on to Greg's Instagram channel afterwards.
Have you seen the video on Instagram? It's only literally just a minute long, so it was just a little teaser, but I've got a full-length video coming out.
Brilliant.
More detail on that, but the guys contacted me a little while ago. I've been sort of helping them with some advice on their van, which is amazing. It's fantastic. And they sent me this sketch. This is their sketch.
I love it.
Classic.
That's a great sketch.
Brilliant sketch. Yeah, really good. And Mel, Annabel's husband, was saying that he was just struggling a little bit with SketchUp. So I said, yeah, I'd give them a hand. So anyway, I've been already trying out this VR software. I got a VR headset a little while ago, and then realised that you could export the SketchUp file onto the VR headset, and then you could virtually put yourself into the 3D model and walk around in it. And it was just a complete revelation. It was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So,
I don't have to build vans ever again. Just sit in the virtual world of a van.
Yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. I think people would be blown away. And more so when you're actually in the VR headset, because you can literally touch stuff and move stuff around, you know, and it is amazing. So I drew it in SketchUp, put it onto the headset. There's the headset here, actually. I've got it right here.
Cool.
The VR headset goes on like that.
Oh, that's better.
So yeah, and then I can walk around in it. If I can actually draw while I'm inside it.
Wow.
So with the hand controllers, if I don't like anything, I can alter it. I can draw something else. I can delete it. You know, I've got all the control that I would have in SketchUp while I'm actually inside the van, which is incredible.
Amazing.
And then I can video it. I did a little video for them guys, but I've done a more detailed video because all of the stuff in the van, which I didn't get a chance to do because we're under a 59-second crunch with that video, with that little teaser. But all the things like the bed pulls out, the table drops down, and I can actually do that all in VR. So I can move the cushions around, I can drop the table down, I can pull the bed out, turn the mattress round, and I can show, you can have literally a van tour without having the van even built.
Yeah.
Walk around it, just check that it all works. And yeah, it's amazing. For those guys, it'll be an incredible tool to visualise their van before they even cut a piece of wood.
That's awesome. I really love that. And I really love that you could put all the like textures and tones and colours of everything in as well, which is really awesome.
Yeah, they gave me, Annabel gave me like a mood board. So she'd got pictures of cushions and designs and colours that they wanted and so forth. And then I can actually take a JPEG image and then texture it onto a cushion cover or texture it onto a seat or, you know, anything like that. So you can literally take a photograph if you wanted to and paste it onto a wall.
Brilliant.
So you can make the van as realistic as you want it to be.
That's awesome.
It's incredible, yeah. I think there's a TV programme which is on that we've been watching, and it's a garden programme.
Only because they use the VR to show them.
And
no other reason.
They do, you know, change their gardens. Yeah. Brilliant.
It was what twigged me to think, oh yeah, maybe I could do that with the van, perhaps.
Yeah.
They get these designers in and they remodel their garden. They do it all in 3D.
Brilliant.
And then they get the owners to walk around in their new garden virtually with these headsets on before they actually put a spade in the ground.
Love it.
A lot of time, I guess.
We've had Gillian. We've had Gillian Green from New Zealand come back and said she means when buying the van, how do you find it and check it out? Now, this is a question we get asked a lot. How do you know that a van is good quality, well looked after, not been ragged around, not had lots of short journeys, etc.?
Yeah, there's a few things that I look for which you can do online before you've even seen the van. If you go on the government's website, you can do an MOT history check on the vehicle. So you can look back through the MOT history. You can check the speedometer mileage readings and see if it's had any major things wrong with it. And it's a good one as well if vans have had advisories, particularly for suspension oil leaks and things like that, and you get to the van and that work hasn't been done. It's something you can question whether that work's been repaired or not. I always make a point of asking those questions because you see them on the MOT sheet, and then I make sure, like, has that been changed or has that work been done? Or last thing you want is for somebody to get a mate to MOT it and just
sign it off. Yeah.
Just literally sign all those bits off without having them done. You know, I know it does happen. The other thing, obviously, you can do an HPI check, which is very cheap these days. I always do that. It's about £6 or £7, and that tells you whether it's ever been written off, whether it's been stolen, or any of those kind of things. So it's got any outstanding finance on it. So I'd always advise doing that if you're going to buy a van. And then the one key thing which I think is really important is a service history. If the van's been regularly serviced and you've got proof of that, and it's had regular oil change, that's really important, you know, because it just shows that somebody's looked after it.
Yeah.
But they're the key things I look for. And then obviously, if you can, take somebody along who knows a little bit about vehicles to have a look at it for you.
Yeah.
Or you can have an inspection by the AA or the RAC.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually.
Yeah.
And
they're more than happy to come along. It's not a massive amount of money. And if you're spending, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 grand on a van, it's money well spent.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really good point. Hopefully that applies to Gillian in New Zealand as well, and they've got all of those resources that they can do there. We had one. We'll just take a couple more questions, if that's all right with you, because we don't want to keep you all evening. Although I think we could keep you all evening with the amount of questions.
Yeah.
So we have David Harrow saying, he's picking up on your comments at the beginning, you saying that you didn't really use haven't really used your internal shower as much. Is that due to low pressure, or is that not enough room? He's asked.
It's got nothing to do with the way that the van functions in terms of the water system. I mean, the Truma boiler works fantastic. We've got plenty of hot water, loads of pressure. It actually gives a really, really good shower. Just from personal choice, really, just from a point of view of having to fill up the tanks so often, empty the tanks so often, and on the odd time that we're on campsites and using their facilities, maybe once or twice a week because we want to use the laundry as well, or something like that, or and there's plenty of other places where you can shower as well, or even bathing in the in rivers and seas and things like that. I know we just didn't use it as much as we thought we would. Don't get me wrong, we're not filthy dirty. But it's nice having the room, just the room in itself, obviously, as a toilet. And, if you just have a private washing every morning, obviously, it's nice from that point of view. I doubt I would put a shower in another van, to be honest.
Are you going to put an internal toilet in the next budget medium?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. The most important thing in the van, forget anything else in the van, you need a toilet.
All right. Toilet or heater? You can only have one.
Toilet.
Really? Lou, same for you? Or?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I can wear 5 jumpers. I can,
take everything else out of the van and put a pump up Lilo on the floor. I'd need a toilet.
Yeah.
Nice.
Brilliant. That's really interesting, because we never thought about having internal toilets and showers.
I just don't have to deal with the whole, deal with it, we empty it and
you do, but they're so clean to do, really.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand that all the thing.
The cassette. Where can you do you empty them at a campsite? Is there a waste facility that receives it at a campsite for the black waste?
Yeah, they've got proper sluice.
Yeah, dump it in the hole.
Campsites. They've got a proper waste disposal for toilet waste.
Yeah.
And then I know when we're at your mum and dad's, the drainage comes out the back of their house and there's a manhole there.
Oh, so perfect.
I lift the manhole, pour it down the manholes, wash it out with some clean water, put the manhole cover back down.
Yeah.
And then when we're stopping at my mum's here, I just empty it in the downstairs toilet here, and it's not a problem at all. It's so convenient.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe for the next one, hey?
Yeah.
So we'll wrap up in a couple of minutes. Is there any other things that you wanted to mention or say to the community? Because we've got about 66 people watching at the moment. Is there anything, and people will be watching this afterwards, that you'd like to say to them about what you're doing?
Only just if you're thinking of doing this, go for it. Yeah. we've really enjoyed our time in the van, to be honest, and we just absolutely can't wait to get back out and explore a little bit more. So if you're on the fence about considering whether to do it or not, or whether you'd be happy living in the van, 100% go for it.
And where's your next trip going to be, as soon as you can?
Yeah, we're hoping to get out as soon as the restrictions are eased a little bit. I mean, it might be a case we may have to stay in the UK a little bit longer this year, which I think everybody's in the same boat. But as soon as we're comfortable, we want to head. We'd like to do some of the northern countries, Scandinavia. I'd like to do Switzerland and Austria, places that we've never visited on holiday. And, looking at photographs, they look absolutely stunning. Yeah. So we'd love to go and tour around some of those places.
Definitely.
So somewhere different.
Yeah.
where we've been already.
Yeah, somewhere different from the driveway.
Yeah, anywhere.
Perfect. Well, we'll wrap up there. I just wanted to say thank you from both of us for joining us on the show, because it's really been a pleasure, and I feel like I've learnt loads already from just having you on the show.
Thanks very much for offering to have us on here. You know, we're really excited about coming on today. So.
Oh, great! Awesome. And I really look forward to seeing your new budget build as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed we can get a van.
Fingers crossed.
Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Lovely to see you.
Bye, Lou. Bye, Greg.
Came on. Sorry we couldn't answer all your questions, but thanks very much for being on.
No problem.
No worries. And we will sign off the show there as well, guys. So we're going to save. We'll put it on our post on our grid or whatever on our Instagram profile. But thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 See ya. Bye.